Hi everyone, welcome to today's video where we are going to discuss a great logical function that you can use in Microsoft Excel. I know the if function is quite a popular function that people want to use in Excel, and that is a great function to use. I use this function quite a lot when working in Microsoft Excel, and once you understand the basics of this function, you can do some quite incredible things when using it correctly. So in this tutorial, we'll show you exactly how to use the if function. And before we get to our example today, I just want to explain that the if function consists of three parts. So part one of this function will be your logical test. So this section of your formula will be where you are testing certain data against another data set or text or whatever you are inserting into that logical test. And part two of this function is what data or text you want to return if the value of your logical test has been proven to be true. So, and then of course, part three would be what data or text you want to return if your logical test has proven false. So that's the three main components of the if function. And I know you can use multiple if functions and you can nest them together, and you can then use this to perform more complex logical tests. But we will save that for another video later on. But for now, we will be discussing the basics of the if function and how you can use this function in your day-to-day life. So as you can see, we've got a little table set up here, and we've got test scores for each student. So this is a simple explanation, but hopefully you will understand the basics of this function. So what we want to achieve with this function is we are going to test the student test score against our given score that we want as our minimum requirement, and we will then either return, pass, or fail depending on where your score is set. So let's jump right into this example to show you exactly how the if function works. So in the cell, you're simply going to type out the equal sign, and then we are going to type out if, and we are going to insert a bracket. So you can see the first part is our logical test, and this is simply going to be, we are going to test our student score against whatever we would like to put in. So for this, let's say if this score is larger or equal to, let's say, 50, then that is our logical test. So if the score is larger than 50, we would want to return a certain value or even text. So with a comma point, you can see we are now in the second part of this function, and that is what are we going to return if our logical test has proven to be true. So in this case, as you guys, it's quite obvious, we are going to return pass. So in a double quotes, you would then just type out your text that you want to return for this function. And then, of course, once you're done with that, you can simply type another comma point and then head to the next part of this function. So the next part is what are we going to return if this is false? And of course, in another double quotes, we'll simply type out fail. So once I close this bracket, everyone can see exactly what we've typed out here. So this is quite simple on how to use the if function. So if you go back into this function, you can see our logical test would be if our test score is larger or equal to 50, then either you will receive a pass or a fail. And once I press enter, you can see exactly how this function works. So let's just autofill that, and you can see the results as they are here. So this is a great function to use in Microsoft Excel, you can use this with a bunch of options. As I said, you can use multiple ifs and you can then solve more complex logical tests. But this is a great function to use. And let's just say that if you have in your logical test section, you can refer data back to another set of data. So let's just quickly demonstrate what I mean with this. So let's say we've got our minimum requirements to pass. So let's just get this. And let's say we have a 50 as our minimum requirement to pass. So in my if statement at the top here, in my logical test section of this, I'm simply going to swap out this mark that we've entered manually here with this section. So I'm referring to this new cell with data in it to get what we would like. So let's just change the format of this to lock in that value. So once you've done that, I'm simply going to autofill this again so that this value carries through. So if I change this, let's change it to, let's say 80, you can see that our pass and fail options have changed in our table. And this is how the basics of the if function. I know you can do a lot more complex solutions with this. And if you would like to see a video discussing some more complex logical tests, please let us know in the comment section down below and we can try and create that video for you. But this is the basics of the if function, and I hope you find this function very helpful in your day-to-day life. And if you do, and if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like down below and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of our new content. But thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, cheers.